name is Anna. I am the director and founder of Emverio Workplace Complaints. If you're watching this video, it is likely that your employer has partnered with us to provide you with an external contact officer. What does that mean? It just means that we have been engaged by your employer to support you to raise any concerns or complaints or grievances that you might have with a co-worker, contractor, volunteer, okay? People in and around your workplace, right? There are a couple of reasons that employers do this, but it means that they care, right? It means that they care enough that they're going to give you someone like us, someone from our team to talk to about your complaint and help you unravel what's going on, what can you be responsible for, what do they need to be responsible for, what are your options in trying to resolve it, and we can support you to go through that process. We don't know you, we're not on site, we don't know your co-workers, we're independent, we're not caught up in the politics around it, and we're really here to support you to report rogue behaviour, okay? And if you're not sure, give us a buzz. In this video, we are going to go through, firstly, how to lodge a complaint with us. We're going to talk about what we do with your information. We're going to talk about anonymous complaints and your options to lodge an anonymous complaint. We are going to give you a little bit of insight about what might happen in the conversation with us. So, you know, the sorts of things we might ask you and how you can prepare for that conversation if you want to. But you don't have to, you can just ring us as well. Let's talk about how you can lodge a complaint with us. You can call us. So the number should be on the screen. I'll also put it down below this video. You can submit an online form which should be embedded in the website where you found this video. That form comes directly to us. So you can call us, you can put in that form, you can email us. I'll also put a link to that email below. You can also make a time to speak with us using Microsoft Teams or Zoom or your phone number. You will need to provide us some of your personal details such as an email address and your phone number. If you're concerned about that, you can create a pseudonym, a fake one, that we can use while we're just discussing what's going on at your workplace. Okay. So what do we do with that information? So we like to get your consent to disclose the information to the employer, and if you don't give that to us, it just stays with us and we can have chats to you about some of your options and talk you through what's available in terms of resolution for whatever complaint that you have. Not everything has to go directly to the employer. All right, so we have a chat about that. Okay, let's talk about lodging an anonymous complaint. Okay, I'd like you to think about it in two ways. One is the information that you're giving us, and the other way is the disclosure of your identity. Okay, so to remain anonymous, we still need to consent to disclose the information that you give us to the employer. And if you don't give us that, we don't disclose it. Okay, sometimes when people call, they just need a bit of time to sort of process and think about what their options are. We're really good to support you to do that as well. Okay, so I'm going to just give you a couple of examples. Say you're in a meeting and there were 10 plus people in the meeting and someone got dysregulated in that meeting, was yelling, perhaps swearing, perhaps calling someone names. It's pretty extreme. I'm using an extreme example, but if you wanted to complain about that particular incident, you probably could anonymously, right? Because there were lots of other people around, okay? So you could probably keep your identity secure. People might not know who made the complaint because there was a lot of people there, okay? So we would still need consent to disclose the information, but we probably could keep your identity secure. So let's just park that example. And let's look at another example where the conduct was just between two people, there were no other people there. Sexual harassment is a good example of this type of incident. So nobody else saw what was going on, and it's your word against theirs. So with that type of information, even though you might not disclose your identity, the details of who you are, just by the nature of the circumstances of the incident, will reveal your identity. Okay, so that's sort of something to think about when you're processing, like, how do I raise this complaint? Can my identity be maintained anonymously and confidentially? Okay. The other thing to say about that is if you do not want us to know your identity, you don't have to give it to us. Just don't give it to us. Okay? We would prefer that, actually, if that's what you want. Okay? The benefits of giving us your identity means that we can keep in touch with you about the progress of the complaint. Okay? So sometimes we might have your identity, but the employer doesn't. Okay? So we can accommodate those types of complaints as well. All right, so you don't have to give us your identity, but if you do, you have the option of us not disclosing that, keeping in mind what I just said about making sure the information doesn't reveal your identity. Okay, but talk to us more. That's what we're here to do. We're here to support you to try and unravel what is going on and what your options might be. The next thing I want to cover with you is what we actually do with your information. All right. So partly that depends on your preference of whether you want the information and your identity disclosed, or one or the other. So if you decide, look, I don't want to do anything with this, I don't give consent to disclose, we don't do anything with that. We do report on number of complaints we've seen and general themes. So for example, wage discrepancies, bullying, discrimination. So we have themes that we report on, but we don't use any identifying features or information in that reporting. Okay. So if you choose to allow us to contact your employer and they're a member with us, then we have specific contacts that your employer have given us. They're usually very senior, and we provide that information to that person. All right. If you want to know who that is, call us. We can talk you through it. It's no big secret, right? Just call us. We'll talk you through it. If you have an issue with that person, we have another one. We always have 2 senior contacts within the business who we can talk to and give the information to support both yourself and the employer, find options that work for everybody. The other matter that I want to cover with you today is around who can lodge a complaint, right? Anybody can. Anybody can lodge a complaint. You can be an employee, you can be a volunteer, you can be a contractor. Some of our members, sometimes their clients or consumers might contact us, and that's fine as well. If we can't support you, then we will direct you to organisations or government bodies that can support you progress that complaint. Okay. Lastly, I just want to cover with you that, nobody goes to work to be in a state of anxiety and stress and worry. Nobody goes to work to be bullied or sexually harassed or discriminated against, right? Most of us just want to go to work, do a good job, come home, collect our pay. Do you know what I mean? Most of us, if we're lucky, we're inspired by what we do and we love what we do. But the majority of us really just want to go to work, do a good job, be acknowledged, be valued, and come home. All right? So sometimes it can be very difficult if you're subject to behaviours and you're not sure how to unravel which bits you need to be accountable for, which bits the employer needs to be accountable for, what are you going to do if the behaviour doesn't stop, how are you going to articulate yourself if you want the behaviour to stop that doesn't escalate or, cause some sort of retribution for you or others, right? We can help you by just talking about it. So if you call us, we can sort of go through with you. We can help you do that work. All right. So that's what we're here for. That's what we're here for, to help you identify, like, is this serious enough for me to raise with the employer? And we always recommend that you start off with your employer and try and understand what the challenges are that you're having without a lot of emotional charge, right? Because when we're emotionally charged, it's difficult for us to articulate what our needs are, okay? So sometimes it's really good to have a third party who is, that's us, a third party who is not involved in the politics of your organisation, who have an understanding of the Australian context and industrial landscape to support you to move through it. Okay, the other tip that I would have, if you want to contact us and just sort of talk that through, is to be aware of your policies and procedures and what they say, and also be aware of your role description. Okay, they're really two good things to come to the table with when you're talking to us, so you can get clarity around that. All right, so we would always encourage you to try and sort it out directly with your employer, but if you can't, that's what we're here to support you to navigate. Okay, so it's not just about, it doesn't have to be super, super, super serious, like, for example, sexual harassment. It can be, hang on a minute, is this behaviour okay, right? Because sometimes when we're in the middle of our workplace environment and culture, it can be difficult to unravel what's normalised and what the expectations are. All right, and that will also depend on the size of your organisation about what's possible to achieve. Okay, so look, if you've got areas of concern, your employer has got invested in us to support you to move through that. So that's a really good sign as far as I'm concerned anyway. Okay. Look, if you have any other questions that I haven't answered in this video, please call us and talk to us about what's going on for you, and we'll do our best to support you and your employer. Thank you for watching, and I know being in a workplace that's not satisfying your needs can be really challenging, and that's why we're here. So yeah, give us a buzz and we will do our best to support you and your employer. Bye for now.